If you are looking for a very cute, easy, no-sew pattern to crochet up for Valentine's Day, I have the pattern for you. Washcloth, or like a little makeup rag thing. This little crochet heart kitty scrubby. It only takes about 15 minutes to crochet up with me, so let's get started. Here is the pattern I made on Etsy, and I linked it in the description below. It walks you through each single stitch in the exact order you're supposed to do it. It is beginner friendly, but it is a little easier to do it with my tutorial. So let's go ahead and get started. What I'm using is, I love this cotton brand, size 4 medium, and I'm using a number 8mm crochet hook. And the reason I'm doing the tutorial in a different yarn is because it's really hard to see the stitches on a scrubby yarn like this, but I will show you how to do it with this after we do it with this. So the first thing you need to do is make a slip stitch. And if you know how to make a magic circle, do that. So let's do the slip stitch here, because we're going to be making a circle with 4 stitches. So chain 4. Join with a slip stitch to that first chain. It makes the circle here. Chain 2. Make 2 double crochets into the circle. I do apologize, I'm getting over a sinus infection, so I sound like a groggy frog. Okay, now that you made your 2 double crochets, we're going to chain 2. Then we make 10 double crochets into the circle. I'm crocheting back over my yarn tail that I started with too, but you don't have to do that. You can just weave it in at the end. Okay, so let's go back and count our stitches to double check. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now we make another chain 2. And join at the top of that chain 2 space with the slip stitch. Chain 1. Make 2 half double crochets. Now in this chain 2 space, we're going to make 2 double crochets, a chain 4, and 3 double crochets. So we'll start with the 2 double crochets. Okay, chain 4, three more double crochets, all right, now we make a cluster stitch, which means 3 double crochets in the same space, in this next space here, or stitch, I should say. Okay, now we're going to make 1 decrease. If you don't know how to make a decrease, just look it up on YouTube. A lot of people have tutorials up, and it's basically making 2 stitches into 1. I'll go through this with you really slow. So you yarn over, go through your stitch, pull up a loop, pull through 2. Okay, and then we yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn through 2. You have 3 on your hook, and you pull through all 3. That turns 2 into 1, making it a decrease because it decreases the amount of stitches on your project. Now we're going to do a half double crochet. In this next stitch, we're going to do 3 different stitches in 1. So we're going to do a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1, and another single crochet. This forms the little kitty's chin. Okay, now we do a half double crochet into the next space here. And then we do a decrease, half double crochet decrease. Okay, and now we do a cluster stitch into that next stitch, which is 3 double crochets into 1 stitch. All right, into this chain 2 space here, we're going to do 3 double crochets, chain 4, and another 2 double crochets. So let's start with our 3. Okay, chain 4. Two more. Oh, let's start that over. All right, and then we're gonna slip stitch back in to our chain 2 space right here. Okay. Now cut your yarn. Get that yarn tail out of the way. you're gonna weave this back in and weave this one in to get those yarn tails out of the way. And there you have it, a little kitty heart head. You can use it as a little bag charm by putting 30 chains here in a loop, or you can just give it to a friend in their Valentine's Day card. So now let's go over this same pattern with the scrubby yarn, okay, to make somebody a little heart kitty scrubby. You can make the ears a little bigger if you want by adding 2 extra chains on there if you want, and then you can use the ear to hook onto a little hook in your kitchen or whatever, but I like the ears kind of small like that. Okay, so we have our scrubby yarn here. Let's put this guy right here so that we can use him as reference. Okay, let's get a little better angle. Okay, so this I got from a friend. They gave it to me, but I think you can get it at Walmart for just a couple bucks. And it goes a long way. A little bit goes a long way, especially with a pattern like this where we're not using a whole lot of yarn. Okay, so let's start by doing a slip stitch. You want a fairly large yarn tail, but not too big with this kind of yarn, because when you use this, it's really easy for the yarn not to get loose, because basically you can just crochet back over the yarn tail as you go, and that locks the yarn in, and it's really hard to make this come apart, which is really nice about scrubby yarn. All right, so we did our slip stitch. Now we're going to chain 4. And then we slip stitch back into that very first chain. I'm going to crochet over this yarn tail as I go, but you don't have to do that. You can just kind of weave it in at the end. But I like to, like I said, I like to crochet over it because it's a lot easier than weaving this kind of yarn in. It kind of gets stuck as you crochet it back or weave it back in. All right, so now we have our circle. Okay, we're going to crochet 2 chains. And now we're going to do 2 double crochets back into the circle. Chain 2 again. Then we do 10 double crochets into the circle. All right, now we're going to chain 2. Slip stitch back into that very first stitch at the top. Chain 1. Make 2 half double crochets. into the chain 2 space, we're going to make 2 double crochets, chain 4, and 3 double crochets. So here's the 2. All right, chain 4. Chain 3. Or no, sorry, double crochet 3. Now we're going to do a cluster stitch. So that's 3 double crochets into the same stitch. All right, now we're going to do 1 decrease, 1 double crochet decrease. Oh, that's here. I'll go slow again. So yarn over, go through your stitch, pull up a loop, okay, go through 2 loops. So you have 2 left on your hook, yarn over, go through the next stitch, pull up a loop, go through 2 loops, and you have 3 yarn loops on your hook, and then pull through all 3. Okay. Now we're going to do a half double crochet. Three single crochets in this same stitch with 1 chain in between. So we go 1 single crochet, chain, back through that same stitch. You're going to do 1 single crochet, chain, another single crochet, okay? And now we're going to do a half double crochet, 1 half double decrease, and then a cluster stitch, so 3 double crochets in that same stitch. All right, we're back to our chain 2 space. We are going to make 3 half double crochets, chain 4, and another 2 half double crochets. So we'll do that 3 half doubles. Chain 4. Okay, 2 half doubles. And then slip stitch into that very top stitch of your first chain, or your second chain 2, I guess. And there we go. There is your kitty scrubby. Make sure you cut this loop through, and we can crochet this back through. Instead of taking a darning needle, which is a little bit harder with this yarn. And I crocheted over this a little bit, but this yarn tail a little bit, but not really that much, so that's all right. I guess I lied a little bit, but I meant to. All right, and then you can kind of pull this up a little bit and pull that through a few times. But, you know, like I said, you don't really need to with this kind of yarn. It pretty much locks in as soon as you halfway loop it. Okay, but I'm going to do a little tying action here. Okay, and then cut off your excess yarn. And there you have it, 2 little kitties. And that's big enough to make a little scrubby. All right. Please subscribe if you like this video. Check out my pattern on Etsy. It's in the description. It's real easy to follow. Step by step, each little stitch is in the right order. And oh yeah, you can embroider whiskers on if you like. I didn't, but you would just kind of put a couple whiskers here because you got your eyes here, your ears, and your nose. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this and make lots of little kitty hearts.